I think has been one of the underdog social media platforms for 15 years is YouTube. And if you're okay with being on video, this is usually done to camera, but you can absolutely make videos not on camera. You just reminded me of something, Laveena, that I really hold dear to my heart, the fact that Ra Uru, the founder of the Human Design System, said that human design is meant to be an acoustic transmission. It lands in the cells when you hear it auditorily.
Hello, my friends. Welcome to our conversation with Mari Smith. I'm really pleased to introduce Mari, who is often referred to as the Queen of Facebook, and she's widely known as the premier Facebook marketing expert and a top social media thought leader. Forbes describes Mari as the preeminent Facebook expert. Even Facebook asks her for her help. IBM named Mari one of the 7 women that are shaping digital marketing. She's an in-demand keynote speaker, a dynamic live webinar host, a savvy corporate social media strategist and trainer, and a very popular brand ambassador. Her client list includes Adobe, AT&T, Bank of America, HubSpot, Meta, Nations Lending, Nu Skin, Pinterest, PNC Bank, and Verizon. She is the author of The New Relationship Marketing and a co-author of Facebook Marketing, An Hour a Day. And Mari's passion project for the past several years is the professional studies of the human design system. She integrates aspects of human design into her social media marketing courses to help entrepreneurs and small businesses to grow their business in a much more authentic, impactful, and successful way. So please enjoy this interview of Mari Smith. How are you, Mari?
I am great. I am having a great day so far, and I'm feeling blessed and excited.
Wonderful. I'm really good. I'm so glad that you agreed to connect with us today about this particular topic. Social media being near and dear to your heart for so many years, and then being able to come into our neck of the woods and play with human design and all the exciting things that you're learning and discovering. I'm curious if you can share with us a little bit about what drew you initially to, first, let's talk about social media marketing in your career there.
Oh, I think for most of my career in my teenage years onwards, I have always had this parallel track of 2 loves, my love of people and love of technology. Of course, in the internet in the 90s, it really was the internet and relationships. And so I was kind of having this double career path in the early 2000s where I had written ebooks and was doing courses and coaching in the world of relationships. But then I was also teaching about email marketing, internet marketing, making online courses back in the day when it was new. And I was trying to decide, and I even had a coach at the time said, Mari, you have to decide, you can't do both, you can't have 2. And I'm like, well, guess what? Social media came along, landed in my lap. Facebook in particular in 2007, opened up my account on May the 4th. I always think that's funny that May the 4th be with you, May the 4th, 2007. And it was like this beautiful moment of the fusion of my 2 passions. It was the internet and relationships, social and tech. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I just fell in love with that as a career path.
Oh, that's so beautiful. And I know you were really big on Facebook. What was it about Facebook that really resonated with you the most? Why that platform?
Back in the day, people would check their DMs more. And I noticed that I could reach out and add as a friend and then get immediately into conversation, a private conversation, people whom I had long admired. I had their books on my shelf. I'd been to their events. I subscribed to their newsletters. And these were internet marketers or people like, Jack Canfield or all kinds of people that I, had been following for a long time. And then all of a sudden, I'm like in conversation with them. And I ended up within the first few weeks of joining Facebook, I created this whole program where I interviewed a whole bunch of internet marketers. And there was one gentleman in particular, I won't say his name, but he had specifically said to me, Mari, I have like 3 VAs and a personal assistant. And it's like, I don't know how you got through to me. And I can tell you right now, we would not be having this conversation if you tried to reach me any other way. And I was just like, whoa, this is such a door opener. I can get through to just about anybody in the world that has a Facebook account, and I was just so excited about it. Within the first few weeks, everybody I met, I was like, are you on Facebook? Are you on Facebook? Let me show you how you can connect with people and build this online network of people in your Rolodex, so to speak, full of contacts that you thought you might never have been able to reach previously.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing and powerful. And over the last, what is it now? How many decades have you been seriously ingrained in Facebook as the cornerstone of your social media and marketing business?
17
That's
years.
quite a long time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
So
they're 20, so they started in 2004.
wow. Okay. So seeing all of the changes since, they've been either leading or reacting to the advances in technology. With
Yeah.
everything that you're seeing nowadays, the integration of AI, ads being what they are now, do you still have that same kind of enthusiasm about Facebook?
Yes and no. I do. I still feel that Facebook is an incredible destination for us to connect with loved ones, right? It's the first place I go to interact with my family, and my
Mm.
Canada, Scotland, we're all over the world. And it's still the number one social network in the world, right? And the Meta combined family of apps has almost 4 billion users, and 3 billion of which are on Facebook and logging on daily. Many of them logging on daily. So it still is an incredible captive audience from a business standpoint and a personal standpoint, wonderful place to interact with our true friends and family. The part where I feel a little bit iffy about, I do feel there's a significant erosion of trust. And we've had all kinds of, we, the users, the folks on Facebook have had some big challenges with trust with the company itself, with Facebook, now Meta, with Mark Zuckerberg. And now what I'm seeing that's playing into kind of a renewed erosion of trust is artificial intelligence and seeing content in your feeds and thinking, okay, wait a minute, is this real? And I've noticed myself many times, my thumb will be hovering over the like or the love and wow, whatever, the reaction button, where for me, I feel like that's a form of endorsement. Like if
Yeah.
my thumbprint is going to go on that, I'm basically saying, yep. And then I'll hesitate and go, wait a minute, that's not even real. I'm sorry, I can't endorse that. And so I'm seeing it and I'm talking about it in the inner circles of my own communities where this massive infiltration of AI is happened so fast. It's what it feels like, even though, Chat GPT has been out for a while. And of course, AI has been around forever, but well, forever, but decades. And yeah, so I think the more that us human beings, especially those of us who are in the human design experiment, can embody our own authentic true selves and show up as the true self, catching the not self, as our mentors say, and you being one of the mentors that will never actually get rid of the not self, but just to be more aware of it, to go, oh, you know what? This doesn't feel in alignment. This is not authentic. And to just, try to focus more on having those authentic connections with our audience members, I think is the antidote to that erosion of trust.
I would have to agree with you. Yeah, it's definitely feeling near and dear as far as more authenticity and transparency in our communication so that we can have true communion right now. So I'm curious how you feel then if we can compare and contrast Facebook to what Instagram has to offer. Why would you want to be on that platform? Why can't we just pick one or the other? Does it have to be both?
It doesn't have to be both. No, I'm a great
Okay.
proponent for many, many years that to say pick one or two social
Mhm.
platforms that you personally love and enjoy. There is no point in being on any platform that is just like, you feel this dissonance. You're like, every time you open it up, it's just not for you. Then
Mhm.
it's not for you. But so ideally that you personally enjoy, and ideally that a good chunk of your target audience is on there as well. And of course, between Facebook and Instagram, you're going to get a good cross section. For a lot of people, Instagram is simply more fun. It's predominantly consumed on our mobile devices. It's 100% visual. So it's either video or photos. And it just, for many people, it seems just a little bit easier to use because you've taken a picture or video, you just tap a few buttons and then you're posted and your content is out there. It's also a wonderful place to connect with people in the direct messages. I think because of the fact, even though it's frustrating to not be able to include links in our posts, although you can in stories, I do recommend making good use of stories because you have links there. But one of the great calls to action, CTAs, is to be able to say, hey, message me, comment, make a comment. You can set up a trigger where people have a comment word and it automatically will direct message them. And so I think it just feels like a more complete ecosystem inside your phone, as opposed to Facebook's like this big unwieldy, you got pages, you got profiles, you got groups, you got friends, and it's just a lot more to the experience.
Ah, I see what you mean. Great comparison. Thank you for sharing your perspective on that with us. Now, there's another thing I'm curious about, if we could circle back around to AI, because we did mention it briefly. And there's a lot of panic or fear or concern about AI across many different industries. So I'm curious if we could take a look at the social media industry. How is AI impacting your own career, and in what ways?
It's interesting, Laveena. I will often say that I'm an early adopter, adapter, whatever people want to call it, but I will never be the first because I am a first line, I'm a 1-3 investigator, and I have 10 line ones. And I just watch myself. It's like something comes across my desk. I'm like, I need to go deep, deep down into the weeds. And I need to make sure there's this solid foundation. And so I have come to build a significant trust with my audience. And they know, okay, if Mari's saying something, if she's endorsing or she's saying, hey, let's go this way with my 214, then it's like my gate 12 caution. It's like I have thoroughly tested something out and then I've structured it, 2343, put it in a way that I can explain in comprehensible nuggets. So right now, AI is like this cacophony. It's like this wild west. And you've got major players like Sam Altman at OpenAI with the Chat GPT. You've got Google Gemini, Microsoft Copilot. You've got Meta AI, Jan LeCun that heads up AI at Meta. And they are just arms race, battling it out to see who can be first and who can dominate. And we, us users, are kind of all at the mercy of this crazy arms race. And it's getting pushed in our faces every time we go to open something up. It's like, hey, let AI help you. I was posting in my Facebook group the other day about how I was making a comment on my Facebook group. And I'm inside of Facebook on my laptop. So logged in, I was on Chrome right enough. And the little bubble pops up. I just saw it fleetingly. And it was a Google, not Facebook, not Meta, a Google prompt that said, need help writing or help me write or something. I'm like, enough already. I don't need help writing. So there's aspects of AI I'm personally finding just frustrating and irritating. On the flip side of that, there's some amazing tools out there that are great for ideating. Of course, Chat GPT, you can do so much more. The 4O, O for OMG, O for Omni. I like the script for taking my videos and chunking them down and making reels. I see AIs being baked into everything. With the meta AI aspect, yes, you can create images. You can now interact with it as a chat assistant, very, very similar to Chat GPT. I think it's so early days right now that most users, business owners, marketers are unclear about what is the impact. Should we even use this? In fact, I don't even want to use it. Where can I opt out? And my goal is just to keep investigating and testing and trying and seeing what works and what doesn't, being that third line and being able to inform my audience, you know what? Here's what you need to know and ignore the rest. There is a lot of FOMO out there, right? Fear of missing out. People think they're behind when it comes to AI, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. So
yeah, I feel it too. In our industry, in human design, there's a lot of talk about AI potentially putting us analysts and consultants out of business. We can see in the career and coaching world that people are making AIs of themselves for their coaching. I mean, it's just a crazy world right now. So I think put a pin in that, because it is something that is so new, and some people
Yeah.
are really embracing it and other people are like running away from it and everywhere in between.
Can I just interject on that?
Yeah.
You just reminded me of something, Laveena, that
Mm.
I really hold dear to my heart, the fact that Ra Uru, the founder of the Human Design System, said that human design is meant to be an acoustic transmission. It lands in the cells when you hear it auditorily. And
Mhm.
I personally am a big fan of having readings, even just discussions, overviews that are in person or Zoom, but there's a voice transmission. And it's not just like, okay, here's a big comprehensive report. Oh, here's an AI chatbot, just go help yourself and interact with it. How do you even know if that's going to spit out the accurate information? And is that really going to mutate somebody and transform and impact them at a cellular level? Probably not. It takes time, as you well know, and it takes that human interaction. So I would say any analyst and BG5 consultants out there concerned about job impact, I'm leaning more into this because I feel like this is one of the areas that will actually not be that impacted by AI in
I'm
terms of job loss.
I'm so grateful to hear you share that perspective, because I know that there's some really afraid and scared people out there. And I find comfort in that recognition too, because it takes such a long time to comprehend from a cellular level what this information can do to you internally. And then from that place of frequency, being able to affect or comfort or transform or explain or whatever it is that you're here to do to support or be of service with the knowledge, there's nothing like human interaction. And that is what one of the new era keynotes is, that we have authenticity. At the same time, we also have hypocrisy. So it always comes with two things: apathy or being a role model. It's just a very polarized experience that people can have in life.
Yeah.
And it's a nice thing to know that there is still some place you can go to learn about the source material.
Yeah. 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 I say I put this slide in many of my social media talks. Towards the end, I'll be like, technology might be moving at warp speed, but human beings, fundamentally, we've not changed all that much. We want to connect. We want to, some of us, not everybody, but we want to belong. We want to commune. We want that human interaction. Our brains are not craving, oh my God, I can't wait to interact with this microchip.
Right,
Anyway.
right. What I've been seeing is there's less of this large impersonal group thing going on, and it's more niche down into micro communities that are not so much on the larger platforms, or maybe they are, but then it's very limited to a certain subset of people, and it's not trying to include everybody, but it's trying to be really specific and empowered. When it comes to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, they all seem to be geared towards, hey, come and create here, post tons of content, publish all your content here. And so I'm curious why you think that is, or what are your thoughts on that particular train?
Oof, this does my head in.
Yeah.
It does, because if you think about Meta, TikTok, Google that owns YouTube, their agenda is to get people cranking out content, because so long as they have content, they can monetize. They have to have content to insert the ads in, and that's the predominant revenue model. So what they do is they come along with the carrot and they dangle it in front of everybody. Hey, we've got this awards thing. And Facebook, Meta, back in the day, a few years back now, when they first brought out the Reels format, the short form videos, you could get as much as $30,000 if you had a certain amount of views. It wasn't even that much, but a certain amount of views on a reel. I personally know people that got that money. And so some people, not everybody, but can be very money motivated. So they see these big tech companies going, be a creator economy, monetize your content. They're like, ooh, okay, jump up. I call them meta marionettes. We're like these puppets on a string. Meta says jump, we say how high. And so before you know it, you're on this kind of roller coaster of cranking out content to feed the machine to hopefully maybe get paid from these third parties. And I'm like, whoa, stop. That's not a sustainable business model. You're building their business, not your own business. You make content for you and for your tribe, your people, and you monetize through your own offerings. And hey, if you get a little bonus payment from one of these third-party payouts, great. There's your Starbucks money or whatever you want to use it for. So I just think it's important for folks to be hip to the fact that this great push for the creator economy is maybe for about 5% of social media users that are there for business purposes.
Right. Something that's really has an incredibly broad reach, because if you're a niche creator, you're really specialized on some obscure area, it's not going to get you the $30,000. So it is coffee money. And to do your best to try and create so much material for somebody else's business, it is not self-empowerment, which is the new era, right? The new
Right.
age.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have their own thing going on. And so in that light, how have you seen social media marketing changing over the years?
Gosh, it was interesting that little snippet I described where the internet marketer was like right there in the DMs and engaging with me.
Yeah.
Long gone are those days, because so much of the marketing across businesses of all sizes is what I call set and forget, or it's old school push marketing where they're forgetting the social part. They're just like, okay, we've pushed content out. It's scheduled for the next 30, 60 days. Check, we did our social for the day. And it's like, no, that's not effective, especially when these days reach is down. People are not really seeing as much of your content. It takes a bit more effort and thought to be able to create the content that really resonates with your audience and to be able to then encourage engagement either in the comments or ideally in the DMs. Also, what's working is just to be able to, as I mentioned about stories and in the DMs and having those offline connections. I really encourage my clients and followers and whatnot to stop being so overly focused on the vanity metrics, because it's like growth at all costs. That people, oh my gosh, if I just had more followers, then the money would flow into the bank. It doesn't quite work that way, right? And so there is this sense of people feeling jaded, a little bit disillusioned. There's so much misinformation out there. And yeah, as I mentioned about Facebook still being the number one, we're always going to have that stickiness because you'll still have folks going back to Facebook to connect with friends and family in the first instance. But it's just a different feeling now. It's just people aren't as like excited about social. The jaded folk, I've seen it many times where a lot of small businesses have just abandoned. It's like a ghost town. They've just forgotten about their Facebook page and haven't posted on there for a while, So
Yeah. And then too, leaving that platform for maybe greener pastures where they've got their own thing going on, where they own their community rather than subject to, oh, sorry, your page has been, or group has been, or whatever it is, has been shut down for terms of use, or you've been hacked and now you don't have access. I mean, that kind of powerlessness is just not my cup of tea.
no.
So yeah, being able to pull away and create something outside of that platform has felt really nourishing to me. And when you're personally connecting up with your clients and your students or whoever it is that you're serving, it seems like that really is one of the key highlights of what is working well today. Would you agree? And what else is going on that's really working well?
Yeah, I love that you set up your own network on Mighty Networks. And so funny because here I am, Miss Facebook Queen, and evangelized Facebook for 17 years. And a Facebook group does have its advantages. I run one with about 26,000 folks and mostly social media professionals. And Gina Bianchina, who's the CEO and co-founder of Mighty Networks, I put this in a talk I was doing the other week. She and her team recently did some research and they found that what makes a community successful number one factor. And I love having my students guess. They think, oh, it's the leader. Oh, it's the content. Oh, it's this. Oh, it's that. Oh, it's engagement, blah, blah, blah. But what Gina found is it's the amount of connection and collaboration that members are doing with one another. So I was
Mhm.
like, whoa, that is awesome. And you've cultivated that beautifully in your network. And so that is certainly working. We talked about earlier with these authentic connections, definitely video, because about over 60% of time spent on Facebook and Instagram now today is consuming videos. And especially on Instagram, if you can do your vertical portrait videos up to 90 seconds. So like no more than 90 seconds, that's going to get you a little bit more reach. Another thing to possibly consider on Facebook for those folks out there where it's like, a page, no, I tried a business page, it hardly got any reach. I get more reach on my personal profile. There's this whole new mode called professional mode. You can enable it. If you don't like it, you can toggle it back and put it back to classic mode. But a lot of folks are finding with professional mode on their personal profile, and if you have a little bit more focus on video content, you can still post to your friends only, but now anybody can follow you, and you also get access to metrics. You can see the reach on your posts. You can boost posts and access to a few other features in a professional dashboard. It's in essence turning your personal profile into a page, but without all the extra bits and pieces, and keeps it nice and simple. So I know some folks in my community that have grown up to like 1 million followers doing that approach. And then just one last thing I was mentioning about with the DMs, specifically on Instagram, using your stories a bit more. I know a lot of influencers out there, they hardly post at all. Maybe a few times a month they might post on their grid, but they've always got an active story and a link and a call to action, encouraging people to DM them, because it's like a whole other aspect of making Instagram work for you. And like you, I set up my own community as well. I have both, and I have the Facebook group as well as the Mighty Networks of my Mari Smith Superstars. And I'm still kicking the tires and figuring out what my vision is for, for that part of my community, but I love it. And I tell people, look, this is like an oasis away from the cacophony of the news feeds with all the ads and all the crap that they shove in there with these. It's called a discovery or recommendation engine. It's AI powered, and it decides on your behalf what it thinks that you want to see in your feed. And now on Instagram, I'm sure I saw a stat the other day that was 50%. It used to be 20. It's now half of the content you see on Instagram is recommended for you. It's not even from people that you've chosen to follow. So that can be frustrating.
Yeah. I imagine that's one of the biggest challenges that our entrepreneurs and small business owners face, as which one of these platforms am I going to have success in? Because you don't want to invest your time and energy in a platform that goes defunct, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Seems like these two are very safe when
Yeah.
it comes to challenges besides deciding on which platform to use. What else are some of the biggest challenges that they might have that you could maybe shed some light on?
Yeah, time for sure. I think in some folks' heads, they think that social media is a big time sink and it's going to take a lot of time. I know for me, I watch myself scrolling my feed. I literally open up Instagram to do something very specific, like to check my DMs or to upload a reel. And before you know it, it's like 20, 30 minutes has gone by and I'm watching cat videos. And there's this couple that I love to follow. They just had a baby and I'm like, oh crap, what am I doing? So it's like, it gets you, right? It pulls you in.
Yeah.
So just the time element of being able to do your social media marketing effectively and having a system, having a workflow, being consistent with it. But moreover, I would say probably, especially for human design professionals and consultants, it would be knowing what to post. Like how do I do my marketing that's true and authentic to me? Because it's all too easy to get caught up in the head and go, it's crazy, it's chaotic. I see all this misinformation, or there's a lot of misinformation out there on Instagram in particular about human design. So there's these like overnight experts who have chosen to just put a bunch of memes out there, and it can be daunting to think, well, how am I going to be able to compete with that? How am I going to be able to have, hey, over here, I've got accurate information for you. And so that can feel challenging.
Yeah, speaking of competition, I mean, I know in the new era, that is part of the process of what people are going to be programmed to learn about. But if we just go back to making our decisions in alignment, we'll be in the right
Mm.
place, right time, get exactly what we need, no more, no less. So promise is raw. And when we come to mistakes, sometimes they're our greatest places of learning. So
Yeah.
I'm curious if you have any mistakes that you want to share with your audience that, oh, I learned that from experience. Don't do that when it comes to being a consultant or analyst. If we could like help our consultant and analyst people understand what not to do on social media. What do you see?
I would say there's really only a few mistakes, and this is really across the board, not just for human design consultants and analysts, but hopefully it rings true. Would be, first of all, would be posting too little. Like I come to your Instagram, your Facebook, maybe you've chosen to just not use Facebook anymore. That's okay.
Yeah.
Like maybe it's Instagram, whatever, and your last post was a year ago. It's like, okay, are you open for business still or
Right.
posting too much? Because sometimes I see that too. And you think somehow you've got in your head, oh, all these influencers are posting 3 reels a day. Okay, I'm going to post 3 reels a day. And it's like you end up kind of competing with your own self in the feed. I would say probably top mistake would be actually not including calls to actions, not making it obvious how to do business with you. If I come
Yeah.
to any of your social channels, I want to be able to see instantly, wow, I like your vibe. I'm gelling with your frequency here. I would like to know more. It's like, where's your website? Where do I DM you? How do I contact? What do you offer? Do you do readings? Do you do
Yeah.
consulting? Like how can I want to know more? Because that's what social media is like at the top of the funnel, so to speak. Awareness. It creates awareness. It helps people understand who we are and what we do and what we offer and who we're for. And if there's a frequency resonance there, it needs to be so obvious, almost in every post, quite frankly, because
Mhm.
people see isolated posts in their feed. They don't always come over to your profile. And for them to go, oh, okay, I see what you offer. I see where I'm supposed to click or whatever.
Yeah.
One other quick thing I think specifically for human design and BG5 is sometimes I see what I'm calling over educating. So like just giving too much comprehensive explanation. Here's me, Miss Explainer. But I think, of course, it depends who your audience is. But I see this in some human design accounts where it's just like really going deep down into the weeds, and maybe that might be overwhelming for some new folks to take in. I don't know. It's up to you, but trust your authority,
Right.
right?
Right. It depends on who your target audience is. For me personally, I'm not trying to hook the newcomer. I want
Mhm.
to get the person who's interested in learning more professionally and want to be professionally mentored as a teacher or an analyst or a consultant, be able to say, hey, over here, there's an actual professional international human design school that you can get your certification at, that there's a difference between the weekend warrior courses that you might find where anybody can hang up their shingle and say, I do certify human design readers. And then there's a huge difference and a very long training program, relatively speaking, when we look at what Ra laid out as part of his legacy using the human design system to really affect change in people deeply.
Mm.
So when it comes to having an active presence for people who want to be able to put this information out into the world and thus social media channels, which certain ones do you feel as far as like form and content works really well for human design professionals? I'm curious if you could give us a little lay of the land, what you're seeing.
Which social platforms work well for human design?
Yeah,
Okay.
having an active presence, which one is the one that's like, we were just going to target one besides, oh, we love this one, but what else is like discerning factors of what features and capabilities, these different, because if you're like totally new to social media, okay, which one am I going to get the most bang for my buck out of, Mari? Is it this one? You know, which ones?
Yeah, my mind immediately wanted to say Instagram,
Uh-huh.
and for some people it will be.
Mm.
And there are aspects you can do from your desktop. I think with Instagram, you do have to be very comfortable with working a lot with from your phone. And because a lot of, for example, you're going to go edit reels and edit captions and add music and whatever you want to do to your reels, the the native editor inside the Instagram app is better than any other tool that you'll get. Plus, I think they tend to favor reels that are created natively.
Mhm.
However, the minute I said, oh, Instagram, and I was like, you know what I think has been one of the underdog social media platforms for 15 years is YouTube.
Mm.
And if you're okay with being on video, this is usually done to camera, but you can absolutely make videos not on camera. If it's not your thing, you're not comfortable. You can do screen sharing, you can narrate slides, you can use any number of video tools out there to create stock footage, video clips and images and whatnot, and share your knowledge. That way, I'm thinking of Richard Bowman, the head of Human Design UK. I love his videos on YouTube. He recently started just really focusing, and he brings out these just short videos and very educational, talks to camera. And of course, you're on too. I love your channel too, Laveena. You put a lot of great content, and I love how you repurpose. I think you're great at repurposing, and that's one of the very important aspects to understand too about social media marketing. Is just because you've put something over here on YouTube, it doesn't mean you can then like, oh gosh, how would take little clips of this, and now we've got some reels for Instagram. Maybe we cross post and we just click one button and that goes from Instagram to Facebook, and before you know it, you've got some much more broader visibility.
Yeah, yeah. So YouTube, one of my secrets to my success, absolutely, I would have to agree. Most of the people that find me is because of the YouTube channel over the years. Yeah, last year we repurposed that channel to point to spotlight, a broader spotlight at all of the international human design school professionals. So standing there as a representation of the knowledge, hey, this is where to get the source knowledge when you want to get certified, kind of a thing. Definitely has been one of the things that I feel very pleased to be a part of. I was going to say proud, but not like as in, oh, I did it all myself. It feels like this groundswell of people standing up and saying, this here, this is the source material. This here, this is the authentic information. Not that we're trying to say anybody else is less important, but just that if you want to find the source material and what actually came through the man who presented all of this and was the first messenger, the first student of this system out into the world, this is where you find it. So that people can, when they want to go drink from the source, the well, they find that place to partake in the information and also the people, because it's the people that will speak a similar language. Whereas when people who appropriate the knowledge and then change the language, now they're speaking a different dialect. So it's not the same thing because words have frequency. So being able to be active, I hear you on the channel that you maybe know, use, and love. You're more likely to be enthusiastic about it. Repurposing, doing what is right for you in alignment with what you feel is authentic to your nature. What else? Is there anything else that I want to like make sure that everybody's really got as far as a recap of our conversation today?
Well, my mind wants to say to be strategic. I've been teaching that for so long,
Yeah.
but I do have a strategic mind. And
Yeah,
for
me
those of
too.
you that are a little more advanced and understand about variables and whatnot, but for some people, this will resonate, and that is to just not necessarily have this haphazard approach to just occasionally doing some social media. If that's correct for you, it's no problem. At the same time, it may be that you are missing out on an incredible number of clients and students and people that just would love to work with you, but they're not finding you because there isn't more of a systematic approach or a consistent approach to making sure you have content out there, that you have your calls to actions, that your bio's optimized, that when people come to your website, it's really clear. Ideally, that you're collecting email addresses, you're sending out regular emails if that's correct for you. Potentially, if it really lights you up, to start your own community on a third-party platform. We were talking about Mighty Networks, there's Circle, there's Heartbeat. Some people might like a Slack channel. There's different places, or a WhatsApp group. There's places where you can have a container through which or in which you can connect with your tribe, with your fractal, and really make a difference for them.
Yeah, that really is it at the end of the day, being yourself so that we can make a difference. I'm so pleased that you've agreed to join us with this information, Mari. Thank you so much for your time and your enthusiasm, your excitement in learning human design. It's been such a pleasure and a gift to have you as a comrade along in this journey. And I feel very excited about our upcoming webinar together, where we're going to do some collaboration on information specifically for the human design professional community. Is there anything you'd like to say about that upcoming webinar and informing people and asking them to join?
Oh, very, very honored. I mean, I can feel it in my sternum that to be able to bring my 17 years of social media experience and collaborate. I am a split definition and absolutely here to collaborate. Of all the people in the world that I potentially could collaborate with, being in human design, BG5, business consulting, and social media marketing, it's like this fusion of knowledge and co-creation that really lights me up. I can feel it in my sacral. There's just so much energy here for this. Thank you for your willingness to support this co-creation, that we can help more people ultimately to take the knowledge they already have, being a human design professional or BG5 consultant, potentially in training, and to elevate their presence on their social platforms such that they attract more business, more clients, more prospects. And so in that free webinar, we're going to give basically an open house, a little free taste of what you could experience in the full Blueprint for Social Media Success program, the 10-week program coming up in late July. And one of my favorite things to do, Laveena, is hot seats. So I do that in a lot of my own programs where I'm like, okay, let's just take a little peek. And for those who are willing, I would never do it without permission. You want to share your Instagram account with me, or your Facebook, or your website? Let's have a little peek and just see what comes across to me. I'm going to look through the eyes of if I were a prospect coming to hire you, and give you some feedback, some low-hanging fruit. And so if there's interest, we can definitely do some hot seats in the open house as well. How about you? What are you looking forward to?
Oh my goodness. So just a teeny bit of backstory for those that don't know. I met Mari in, what was it, 2009 or
9.
11? 9? Okay.
2009.
So it was quite a long time ago where I interviewed for a position as an assistant with Mari. And we never met up after that until all of a sudden I'm teaching human design a good amount of time later, we'll just say. And she's in my classes, and I had changed my name. And so I had total stardom fangirl, like, oh my God, it's Mari Smith, I told everybody in my family, right? But for you, it took me like 6 months or something to get comfortable saying, Mari, my name used to be, and then, just to be able to have this collaboration with you where I can bring so I like to look at somebody's human design, and then just whatever it is that they're going to talk or ask, or what concern or problem. Okay, let's take a little peek under the hood and look at the design. And so to have our two loves, because I always have loved social media as well, to have our loves combined together in a experience for people, brand new experience. We're going to see how this works and trial it out. And I've got tears in my eyes of recognition, and just such a delight to be able to do this with you. Like, oh my God, Mari Smith. So anyway, there's my little fangirl.
Well,
Very
that was
excited.
then. I think now it's a little bit different, and I appreciate that. And that was so fun. I think it was 2020, 21.
Okay.
And I just, that DM just cracked me up. And me, Miss Investigator, you're like, did you know that we've met before? And I'm like looking back at my old emails, my old Twitter, my old calendars. And I'm like, holy crap. Well, we spent like 2 hours in a Starbucks. No way.
Yeah. Talk about being on the fractal,
I know, right? I was destined to come back and find you.
Yeah. It's such a gift. Oh, thank you so much, Mari.
You
So everybody, we're going to be doing this. And if you would like to join us, we're looking forward to having you join. And maybe you'll be on a hot seat. Who knows? Mari, thank you so much for being here.
Truly my pleasure.
Awesome. Take care, everybody. Bye for now.